Hey, what is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Sparza, coming to you right now. It is 1:22 Best Coast time. We have an excellent guest. I'll get to him in a second. But before we go any further, I just want to tell you guys real quick, give some love to our friends. First and foremost, over at dodgycollective.com. They have amazing rash guards, amazing spats, amazing shorts, but even better artwork. Some of our best friends, we love them so much. Give them some love. Also, if you would be so kind, go over to our friends over at No-Gi BJJ Gear. NoGiBJJGear.com. Use a promotional code Grappling Hour 15 to do what? That's right. You guessed it. Take 15% off of whatever you put in your cart. All right. A few things. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for tuning in over this weekend. We had an amazing fight companion where we were watching along with portions of Sin City Submission Series, which, it happened. And they're going to be releasing their individual matches throughout the week. So get excited for that. That is going to happen. However, today we are here to talk about a guest that, how do I put this? Well, if there is a competition, he's been on it, essentially. We're talking literally every kind of competition this man is ready to be a part of. He is returning back to the Submission Underground cage next week, not this week, next week. And we're very excited to see him go compete because, if you see him compete, you know that he brings the heat. You know that he's got a great game. You know that he has a very exciting style to him. But just to go through a few things real quick, not only has he been on Fight to Win, Third Coast Grappling, EBI Combat Jiu-Jitsu vet. I mean, here's what you can say about this guy. Not only did he bring home a championship belt over the weekend from Submission Hunters, but he's also got a new belt around his waist of some sort. It looks like a blackish color. I'm not really sure. We'll ask him right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the very first time on this show, Justin Rennick. Justin, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it is great to finally have you on because, we keep our eyes open at all times. And I see you competing out there. I see you like a madman continuously getting out there. But I really want to first and foremost ask, how did it feel to get your black belt? Did you know it was coming? And what was your first reaction when you saw it?
I got kind of a little bit of insight. My professor Travis Moore posted in our little group chat earlier in the day that there was going to be a special promotion or something, and I don't know, man. I feel like my time's been coming, and I've been a 4-stripe brown or he gave me my 3rd stripe like a year ago in August, so I've been a brown belt for almost 2 years, just steady putting in work, still competing against black belts and stuff like that, but. I don't know, man. Just been putting in the work, teaching, training every day, lifting and all the good stuff.
Does it feel any sweeter to be a black belt now? Do you feel more responsibility? Do you feel like you're at that new journey part of a video game? Like, what does it feel like?
It definitely feels a little different. It kind of feels like, I don't know, like, for a while, like I said, I was like competing against black belts, and like I knew, jiu-jitsu, like the level I was at, technically I was a, black belt and stuff like that, but to finally just like have like earned it, it's just, it was just awesome. And just to have that in my hand, the black belt, like I'm a black belt, and just to say it, it's awesome. Long time coming. It's dude, it's so hard to achieve, man. There's so many people that quit, man. It's just, it's a lifelong accomplishment. No one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah, the one thing I would tell people is, my progression to an eventual black belt is that I'm just going to wear them down. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular. I think at one point I'm just going to be like, and I'm still here. So, you got to kind of give it at some point. So that's kind of been my strategy. Did you do anything to commemorate it or celebrate it?
I mean, I pretty much, I had to go weigh in that next day, for my black belt title match, and I won that, and I got a beautiful belt here. So that's kind of how I broke in being a black belt, is just going out there and, putting in the work like I always have, man. Just putting it against, in live scenarios against somebody who wants to come beat my ass just as much as I want to do it to them.
That's pretty cool. I love the fact that you had the belt handy right there. I was gonna bring it
Dude,
up.
I tell you what, this sucker is a good probably 20 pounds too. This isn't, like a cheap, uh, it's a nice, it's definitely something that I'm going to cherish forever, for sure.
Now, I know that they've always been around. Submission Hunter Pro is supposed to actually come out to California, and I was looking forward to potentially doing something with them. But
Yeah.
I've been keeping my eye on them, and I'm so glad that they give you guys an opportunity to do your thing. But of course, a belt like that makes sense, especially when they're going to start being on the UFC.
Yeah, the
So
Fight Pass, yeah.
yeah, I mean that's got to be huge. Did you give any indication that you wanted to come back to them, or anything like that? We'll talk about your match in a second.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty good friends with Eric Garcia, the promoter of Submission Hunter Pro and the Fury MMA, which is also going to be on UFC Fight Pass. But yeah, man, I definitely told him, he actually wanted me to come back October 3rd to in Houston on a card, but I'm flying out to Oregon that day. So I just told him, man, like any other time. And now that, the trials are postponed, the after Submission Underground, I'm pretty open. I'm wide open actually right now. So I'm sure, we'll get some stuff booked up here pretty soon. But
Well,
yeah, like
yeah,
I would love to compete. And I know, like, as of now, they said their women's only event is on Fight Pass, but I'm sure that's going to go super smooth. And, I'm sure Eric will be signing a contract, with Fury and the Submission Hunter Pro to stay on, keep the train going, man. So that's awesome.
yeah, and I've always appreciated the fact that you guys get taken care of, you get extra opportunities because you really just ping pong between the same 3 or 4 of them right now. So, and I know that they're going to play a very important role, as you just mentioned, with ADCC getting pushed back. I know a lot of grapplers very, very heavily in this competition scene who want to stay active because
Hmm.
even though ADCC is getting delayed, it doesn't mean that people are stopping training.
Yeah, it
So
just,
it adds that little bit of like extra uncertainty to the amount of prep time your potential opponents may be having as well.
yeah, like, you can't be like, oh, ADCC trials or another 2 months off. I can eat Cheetos and cereal for 2 months. Like the guys that are going to win, are always putting in the work and are going to be not taking any days off, no matter what. So, uh, I'm a little bummed that I got to wait that much further to do the trials, but, it just gives me a little bit more time to keep stuff dialed in and keep the momentum going, just get better every day.
Well, I used to tell the guys, when we would do like specific ADCC training days with a lot of my friends or, friends of the show, I would just be like, listen, dude, y'all don't get a day off. Like, I don't know how to tell you this. Like, even if you take a day off for your body, I don't know how you're not studying tape. I don't know how you're not planning out your game even mentally. Like you
Hmm.
have to take care of yourself both physically and mentally, but every day that comes up is just another tick. So now you just don't know when that day is coming. So wouldn't that make you want to work twice as hard? So that's just
Exactly.
been my mentality on that. And I'm very much looking forward to when they get their shit together and they can actually do it.
Hmm.
It does seem unfortunate with the ref situation, but I
Yeah.
am pulling for them and for our athletes. So tell me a little bit about the weekend, though, because I do want to ask, how did you win? Because I saw it, but I'd love for you to take people through it and explain how it was that you went over the weekend.
Okay. So, I pulled guard like I typically do. And then he tried, I'll just explain the whole match. It was pretty short. He tried like an X pass, and I inverted, and instead of, in an ideal scenario, you catch with the reverse De La Riva hook. I missed the reverse De La Riva hook, so my outside hook had to come in, and then I spun under and forced 50-50. He hit his heel pretty well. He triangled, so I swept him, came on top, and then I just ditched out of the position. And then I fell back for a leg again, and then he came up on top, and then he went to try to body lock pass, and I just went for Kimura, and as soon as I got the grip, he postured up. He got his hands together and postured up, and I was able to just shrimp out a little bit and throw my leg over the head and stick it in the far hip, and then from there, he fell over, and I just kind of went with the momentum and went right for the armbar there.
That's pretty dope, man. I was looking at this, so I just want to make sure I'm doing this correctly here. But they even came with this like highlight reel that did. Who did the highlight reel, man? Because I
believe it was actually Submission Hunter Pro, like one of their the guys working for them.
That was pretty dope. Let me go and see if I can pull this in. You know what? Just to promote that, I'll put this in the chat section so anybody can see it. But it was a pretty nice thing. Like, I just like the fact that in prepping for this interview, I just kind of skim through things. I jot down notes, and I look down and I go, this man has a highlight reel already made for him. Like, normally athletes cut the highlight reels themselves. So that is a nice gesture on some.
Yeah, that was cool, because I don't know how to do any of that video editing bull crap. I got friends that hopefully can hook it up for me, but me personally, I can't do that stuff.
I mean, listen, dude, I tell people like, the joke I've been going with recently is, I don't know if people know, when we do these live experiences or these live interviews, it's one thing to be Joe Rogan and be the host, but for a lot of us, we're both Joe Rogan and young Jamie. So a lot of the times when it becomes like, ooh, that was really cool, someone's going to edit that. Bye, everybody. That someone is still me. So as much as I love doing that sort of stuff, it takes away from doing the next interview. So I prefer the live format so that I can always connect a little bit more. But as I mentioned to the people here, we did put the link in the chat sections of everywhere, so you guys can find it. If you're watching it, it'll link you to it. It is quite good. I really, really dug it. Now, when you do get that transition, I find that you were able to kill an area that I like to attack, because I was looking at that X guard and I just go, oh shit, that's bad news for me, because I love playing X. Is that an area that you feel comfortable dominating? And more importantly, was that kind of how you saw it would go?
I feel like, I was watching some of his tape before, and I know he's a really good guard player. He's especially really good in the gi. I saw that he did, I think he beat Adam Bradley at Pans or Worlds in the gi last year. So like, I saw that and I was like, holy shit, like, this guy's definitely legit. I need to definitely, mind my P's and Q's. But I just know that, like, with 10-minute regulation, I just feel I can go out there and just attack. And I don't think there's much people that can, withstand the submission attempts that I'm gonna go for, within that time limit. And I just feel really confident in submission only. And I am, definitely like working for ADCC, working more on my wrestling, but just for that match, I didn't want to, mess around, standing around for 2 or 3 minutes. I wanted to, I didn't want to like really struggle too much like I did last year in one of my my title matches that I lost at brown belt. So I definitely wasn't messing around this time. I was going in there for the kill.
Good for you. And just to kind of give people an idea of what the final product looks like, look at that. That's a beauty of a picture there, sir.
Yeah, whoever caught that, is that Mike the Truth Jackson, I think. Shout out to him for that photo.
I just looked at that and I was like, I had somebody when I was training the other day who got a photo of me, and he's a fighter, and he got one of the better photos of me grappling. And I was like, dude, if people see that, they might think I'm good at jiu-jitsu. And he was like, don't worry, I'll get more and they'll be worse. And I said, that's more like it. But I
That's
just
why
love
they
the
pay
fact,
the photographers so much, man. Like that's why
bro,
it's
absolutely.
an art for sure.
Well, I just laugh because I'm thinking to myself, like, every version of a photo that I see of myself grappling, I always look disheveled and old and tired. And I'm like, I am those things, but one of these like nice shots like that would be great to get every once in a while. So I
Right.
appreciate that. Here's what I've got to go ahead and start transitioning to. So I do want to ask. So now we've kind of talked about that, and we talked about kind of where you are currently as a black belt in your journey. I want to go backwards. So where does all of like jiu-jitsu begin for you? Where does your martial arts journey begin, sir?
So, man, I was 14 years old, man. I was like a freshman in high school. I had played football like all my life. Um, my parents got divorced, and I would move back and forth, uh, you know, towards like my middle school years. So, there towards like seventh, eighth grade, I never got like established in a school, and I wasn't honestly playing on the football team. I was sitting there watching them, so that wasn't going to happen. And I just decided, and I'd always, for a few years, I had watched UFC and stuff like that, and I saw there was a school like I don't know 15 minutes away from my house, and it probably took a few months of trying to talk my parents into it. And I went. It was more of like an MMA based school, um, which is good too because you got to learn everything. But I really fell in love with the grappling aspect, and I did have a one amateur fight. Um, I was 17 years old and I lost a unanimous decision. Um, but I just a lot of those early years, man, was just me just getting mentally better because I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like whenever I would go in and train with those guys every day, I felt like I had a purpose, and um, they were like building me up. And I'm telling you, like I would go and train with grown men as a 14-year-old, like getting my ass whooped, doing MMA rounds and grappling rounds too. And I'd just be crying to my coach, like, when am I going to get better? And he's like, just trust the process, and I couple years went by, and I was still smaller than everybody, but I would get by on technique. You just start
Mm.
beating the bigger, stronger guys on the just the technique, and that's really like sums up the jujitsu journey. I feel like for me is just it's just like everyday life, man. You're gonna go through bumps and bruises, and you just got to stick through it, and just try to be positive, and you're gonna do great things. You just got to keep moving forward.
Let's break that down a little bit. Okay, so first of all, as a also bench rider on a football team, I totally understand where you're coming from. But I can also tell you this much. I saw that my quarterback had a Hail Mary of about 15 yards, and I said, we're not ever going to win a state title. This is not going to happen. So at that
Yeah.
point, I started dedicating a lot more of my time to soccer. So it is kind of cool that you went the direction of going towards jiu-jitsu and finding that. You mentioned it seemed almost like it was right away a love, especially at an MMA gym.
Yeah. So, and my main training partner for years, his name was TJ Waldberger, and he was in the UFC. Like he started 4-2, and I think he at one point had the record for most submission attempts in a UFC fight at welterweight or something like that. But he's always been more so a better grappler than striker, and so I kind of just you know fell in the footsteps of kind of that because the coach, our MMA coach was a really he was a good striking coach too, but he specialized at jiu-jitsu. He was a black belt under Machado, and yeah, shout out to John Moore, my first MMA coach. um, and then so keeping on with the story of my jiu-jitsu journey, after I was preparing for my second MMA fight, and in training, I hurt my shoulder. It a couple times it like didn't fully dislocate. I can't remember the stupid scientific word it is for it. But I ended up having shoulder surgery when I was 19, and I was out a couple years. And during those couple years I was out, I ended up doing stupid things. And I mean, I can go in. That's where I tell my story, right, Raph? I'll just go ahead and say
it's where you tell your story. This is, listen, dude, tell your story.
Yeah. If there is any of my students watching that are kids, sorry, but everybody learns. Yeah, is what it is. But so I had shoulder surgery, and I got a little depressed, and I started like selling marijuana and stuff like that, and I would end up going up to Denver to the dispensaries and come back. And long story short, it got too bad, and the feds kicked in my door, and I was looking at a couple felony charges. But luckily, it was my first ever time, being in trouble, and God was on my side. I had great support system with my family and my now wife, my lovely wife Jennifer. She's amazing. But yeah, man, it's just been through a lot, and you just gotta persevere. Yeah, just crazy stuff. But yeah, I got through that, and I started training again. I came back with Travis Moore, be almost 4 years ago now. Be March, I think it was March of 2016. I linked up with Travis, and man, ever since then, it's just been nothing but awesomeness. Just good. Just he's put me in a position to really succeed, and now like I'm teaching all the time, and I'm now tonight I'm going to teach in our Georgetown location. I'm the head Nogi instructor there now, and that's like 30 miles away. So he's just opened so many opportunities for me, and I'm forever grateful for him, man. He stood up there at my wedding, and yeah, he's really, obviously he's made me the jiu-jitsu competitor that I am today. But I really feel like he's really helped me out, off the mats as well, just kind of helping put stuff in line for me and letting me realize my true potential.
It's so hard for people to truly understand sometimes the journeys that always bring us here. Like for a lot of people, nobody starts off being this enlightened person. You have to go through things, and you have to experience things so that way you can pull yourself together at times. And I find those challenging moments are great. And I appreciate your honesty, man, because a lot of the times people try to sweep that underneath. And I actually think it's more beneficial for young kids or people to understand that there are ways to correct your behavior. There are ways to find ways out when you feel like you are struggling. So it is so great that you found a martial art, a sport, a thing that became not only your career passion, but like a form where you can excel and people can give you that kind of recognition. Like that's the great thing about competition is you immediately get that feedback of like, oh, people like that I just armbarred the shit out of this guy. I mean, I would have done it for free, but okay, cool.
You're going to pay me to do it? Shit, okay. And give me a slip note? Okay, awesome.
I can tell you a number of people that I have had beat the shit out of me for free, and I'm like, we aren't getting paid for this. What's happening here? So I would tell you this. If you are a kid who is watching this, just know that there is an example being set here by somebody who understands the value of, hey, listen, that may not be the best way to go, but this is a much better path. And look at you, dude. You're getting championship belts. You have a black belt, which is indicative of how long you've stuck with the craft. And, you mentioned your wife, and that's really cool. I will bring up one small thing in a little bit on that. I did go through a little bit of your Instagram, so we're going to pull up one here. And the reason why I want to pull it up, and maybe we can do it now as I'm getting this ready, I will say this. Oso says, he is so annoying to roll with. Great instructor. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like that really terrible Yelp review that goes, great establishment, would not recommend, 1 star.
I love it.
Justin, here's the reason why I mentioned this is because I was looking through it, and like I mentioned, you were kind of, your Instagram is all full with all these massive training photos, you being a beast, you always on the mats. I always try to dig a little deeper and see if I can find something.
You found something, huh?
I found a couple things.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that we go and kind of address them because they aren't bad by any means or stretch of any kind of imagination. But there are a couple things that caught my eye, and I will bring them to your attention as I pull them up as young Jamie and Joe Roganing at the same time. I will ask you about this photo first. So what can you tell me about this photo that you will see on the screen in just a second? Because it seems, is this your first meeting together? Because it's a little pixelated, so I know it's from 2017. But tell me about this photo that we're looking at right here, sir.
Okay, so this is at EBI 13 or 14 weigh-ins. The absolutes where Gordon obviously wins again. And it's the first time I actually met Mr. Craig Jones. Yeah, so Travis was my coach. Travis was in the bracket that night, so I was there, helping, coach and be around and stuff like that, and fanboy a little bit at the weigh-ins, getting pictures with Craig. But yeah, and he was actually somebody that, like, ever since the very first time I met him, he's just been super cool, and he doesn't act like he's too good to talk to you or anything like that. So that's something that I've always respected about him.
So I guess kind of rounding that one a little bit, what is your coach? What does Travis say when you get a photo with somebody who's in the same bracket against him, and you're like, look at this kid getting photos with the competition over here?
Honestly, I would put $100 that Travis got a picture with him too.
Well, I would say Travis might be a better human being than I. So I would have definitely given you so much mess as a competitor, which is part of the reason why I know it's a good thing I don't compete, because I'm like, I know too many of you kids, and I know how much I would yell. So I would be like, Raph, you interviewed that person. I was like, I don't care, man. I lost them. I'm not in a good mood with them. So I guess the thing I wanted to bring up here is this, to me, reads different as a jiu-jitsu guy than it would as just like a regular friend. Here's why. When I look at this photo and, like, they do that nice couple fixing the tie sort of a thing, she has really good posture for a judo throw here. So all I'm thinking of is, I'm like, Justin, I don't know what kind of dynamic you guys have, but her arms are very strong grip capabilities for the gi.
Yeah. My mom does push-ups pretty much every night. So yeah, I bet she could judo throw the shit out of me if she wanted to.
That's pretty sweet. I like the fact that as I was like walking down and going through those things, I was like, who has these grips? Jeez, was that from your wedding, or where was this from?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was from my wedding. She was, I guess, yeah.
Good for you, man.
Picture thing.
Was that, when did you guys get married?
We got married April 13th of last year.
I was about to say,
luckily last year.
You got people, so good. I was about to be like, do you remember people? Do you remember how that used to function? So I'm glad you got in before any of that happened, because I've seen friends, actually, well, Kevin on the Verbal Tap, he's getting married without people, and I think he's telling me, he's like, hey, man, I need you to send me in a video for a toast. And I'm like, sure. So I'm like looking around, I'm like, oh, man, I have to toast them still. I thought I had this one off now, so I got to write down something nice about the guy. I did want to ask about this, because I thought you also did an excellent job on this. And I don't know what the case is here, but if it is what I think it is, I have questions. So I'm looking at this. Is it like a table that I'm seeing right here?
Yeah.
Is this your work?
Yes, sir, it is.
Good
Yeah,
for
so yeah, so whenever I graduated high school, the summer after I graduated, I went and um, lived with my uncle Kevin in Fort Worth. Um, and I got a little bit of training at Genesis Jiu Jitsu under Albert Hughes there while I was there as well. But my uncle was starting a business at the time where he would, it was just like it was called Pallet Smart. So he would get, wooden pallets and he would, break them down and and upcycle them, refurbish them and stuff like that. And, just uh, run them through planers and, get it looking all nice. And then he would, build furniture and, other things out of that stuff. So, and, I'm not half as good as he is, but yeah, I try. I tried, that was a few years ago and I had fun with it. It was a good side hustle.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I like the way it looks. I looked at that, and when you do the research for these interviews, you try to keep up with as much as you guys do. And the hard part about bringing on jiu-jitsu guys is if they only have jiu-jitsu photos. It's like, well, hey guys, I want to brand you out and show a little bit more for you. So you're gonna look the same if you all have the same training photos of like training selfie. Oh my God,
Yeah.
hit the grind. Quotation about being a lion. So for
Everyday
me,
Pojada.
exactly. When I see those photos like that, I go, I don't see that on a number of people's Instagrams. I don't see a number of people looking and putting great carpentry like that. So that's pretty
I
good.
appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
Of course, man. Do you keep that up? Do you still is that something you do around your own place or something that
Um,
you're doing?
Very little. Right now, me and my wife live in a mobile home that we remodeled. So I've had to, do a little bit of, handyman stuff. I still keep my, my miter saws and table saws and stuff around. But I'm training too much. Like, man, today so far, I, woke up 8 a.m., was at the gym at 9, teach kids. We have an adult class at 10, 11, we have a pro class. Get home, eat, shower. I'm at the gym lifting, and I come home. I'm like, holy crap, it's almost time to, get with Raf, So I stay pretty busy. Um, yeah, I wish I could do it more than I do, but yeah, hopefully one day whenever I'm not putting in as much work as I am, and I'm able to kind of relax. I'll be able to kind of get to, do some more of my hobbies and stuff. But right now, we got goals, man.
Yeah. Well, I like to tell people, when they ask why aren't I doing this or that, I go, it's because I want to be the best at this. If I take more time to do other things, I can't be the best at this. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you see this, but everybody and their mom thinks that they can do a podcast now. So we got a lot of people coming, and the same
There's
people.
levels.
Well, there are levels to it, but at the same point, like I always think of interviewing and talking with people as a muscle, and the more that you develop it, the better you look. And
Hmm.
if you take a week off or you take something else, it may not appear to anybody else, but it's like when you win and you go, I should have won in 2 minutes. I don't know why that took me 10 minutes to do this. It's a very similar thing for me with this. So I totally understand that. But I would just tell you, if you ever need to take away time from jiu-jitsu, might not be a bad avenue. So what do you do outside of jiu-jitsu that helps you maybe take your brain off of that? Because listen, man, that's a very impacted schedule. And I can tell you, I know that can mentally grate on you.
Yeah. Man, really, me and my wife like to just travel. We like to, just go and even if it's just as simple as, driving up to Austin for a day and just, relaxing and eating at a different spot or, going to the lake and relaxing, just, stuff like that. Just trying to spend it with my wife or family.
This is a great heartwarming story. I didn't know there was going to be so much there. I have to ask though, do you have a favorite food joint? And let's put it this way. Is there a favorite food place that you have gone to as a direct result of you competing when you had to travel?
Man, honestly, dude, you cannot go wrong with Texas Roadhouse and their rolls, man. I can my I've eaten like 13 rolls before, sitting at Roadhouse waiting on my meal. So, like whenever I'm real hungry and, maybe I've had to, cut to 170 or something, that's definitely a place that the wife and I will hit up afterwards and kind of carb up. I mean, not right after weigh-ins or anything, but that the weekend after the match and stuff like that.
I do always wonder what you guys are craving when you are massively hungry, and grumpiness does come with that. So
Yeah.
is it rolls that you're craving? Like, what is that? That seems like a specialized version of something that you kind of do. Is there a primary food that you're thinking about when you are normally doing a cut?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big like dinner rolls, bread, but I've got a sweet tooth with the best of them too, man. Let me tell you, I can put away some ice cream, chocolate, you know, gummy worms, all the good stuff.
Oh man, yeah, I know a handful of fighters out here who would tell me, "Man, I love gummy bears," and I cannot tell you how many fighters in particular it is, because they'll tell me this in confidence. And we've done this once with one of my friends where he was in a fight cut and we had to do a skit for like one of our WWE BJJ things. And I brought in gummy worms, but I didn't tell him I was going to do it. And he was like, "Oh, fuck you, dude." And just looked at me. And I looked and I go, "It's for the sketch. And it will make you very mad at me." And, I mean, it worked. I'll tell you that much. But it's definitely something that I've seen a number of fighters tell me. They're like, "Dude, sometimes after those weight cuts, I'm just thinking about gummy worms." And I go, "You know how many times I have gummy bears or gummy worms? It's rare. Holy fuck, that's random that would come in for you guys."
Yeah, I love it, man. I don't know, it's something about it.
Well, Justin, I want to rewind back again because I know that you were giving me answers on a couple of things on the origin story, but I did have a couple questions I did want to circle back to. The first of which is being, I know that you mentioned that there was time off in between, but you were essentially fighting at the age of 17. I always like to ask people what made them fight. But for that young of an age, it almost seems like you're doing it like it's a sport, almost akin to your experience in football or anything else you were growing up with as a kid. I guess I'm still going to ask the question, why did you feel the instinct to fight?
Honestly, I
All right. He just went blank on us. Oh, he found us. I was about to be like, that's the worst answer I've ever had on the show.
Am I back? I'm good to answer
You're
now.
good. Go for it, sir.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Absolutely, man. I got you. So what I was asking is, you were at the age of 17 when you had your first professional fight. And for a lot of people, they always grow up thinking like, "Oh, I am going to fight." I don't know if that was the case with you. So for me, I was curious, what was it inside of you that made it so that you could go blank again? I swear to God, these kids with their internet connections. I kind of hear you, Justin. I don't know what's happening.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I cannot see you.
Lord.
Do you want to back in and out of the room real quick?
Yep, let me back up.
Beautiful. I'll see you in just a second. We are talking with Justin Rennick, and we are taking your questions as well. Thank you very much, Angel or Angel. I don't really know how you say your name. I'm just going to say Angel. Justin is going to be returning in a second. I'm going to pass that on to him when he comes back in. My name's Rafa Sparza. You're watching the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for tuning in. And here's Justin again. Justin, you good, man? Maybe. I think the connection is up. I think we're back now.
Sorry, that was that was a phone call I was waiting on, but I'm gonna call him back.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, no problem, dude. So what made me start fighting? So, I was 14. I was a little, short, little chubby kid, and I, growing up through high school, like that's like a really pivotal moment in your life, and I saw like changes in my body that I'd never seen before. Like I felt confidence that I'd never felt before. Like I had a whole nother support system. Like I had a great family, but like just having a whole nother, group of people at the gym to, you know, there's just nothing like it, man. Unless you train, unless you involve yourself into it, there's just nothing. It's hard to explain, and I felt, I felt like that's what I should do. But I do feel that it was a little too early in my like mental developmental stage. I wasn't. I don't know, man. Like, and maybe it just comes with competition experience, man. Because I hear some people right from the get go, they're just badass competitors. They can go out there and kill it, But that's one thing I guess that I didn't quite have. I guess I had to kind of like learn it or something. Because I don't know. I felt like I was ready, but whenever I went out there, and plus I had cut 15 pounds in 24 hours. By the way, I was fighting at 155, and I made a stupid diet choice, a couple days before weigh-ins, or really the day before weigh-ins, that kind of screwed me. And yeah, had to end up cutting 15 pounds in 24 hours. So that wasn't good along with it. But, the biggest thing I feel that killed me was my mental, like I had gotten a takedown in the first round, and then it was in a stupid boxing ring, man. Golly, I hate those things. And he was all like tied up in the ropes and stuff. And I couldn't hit him. The ref stopped it and like scooted us back. And then as soon as right when he said go, that guy kicked me off. And like, it was almost like I flew off at that. And I was like, holy shit, how the hell did that just happen? Like, he just kicked me off like I was just like his little brother, and I was like, wow. But yeah, man, I feel like just, you've got to be mentally ready for stuff like that. And, some people, some people have it right away, and some people need to compete and really, gain the confidence in themselves.
It's a tough call, at least from my perspective, because now you're speaking as somebody who coaches other people, which means you have new perspective. It means you have a stronger sense of what you really did need mentally back then that you didn't know. The hard part about being that young is it's almost in some ways like you did need to experience doing that because you had a want for it. And clearly it paid off in a want to do jiu-jitsu. But if you didn't exert that and take an L in that, who knows where your story might have gone. So that's why I think it's kind of one of those things where you can't beat yourself up too much on, in terms of, hey man, you were young, you wanted to try and fight, you figured out, okay, I need to get better before I can do this. And even then you found a better love in jiu-jitsu. So we did get a question over here, and it'll go along with what I have to ask, but it's from Christopher Les, who asks, just joined a bit ago, how long did it take you to get a black belt?
So of training time, it would be a little over 8 years. But, I was 14, or no, hold on. I was 14, and then, so I trained for 5 years. So yeah, actually like 9 years. I'm sorry. It'd be 9 years training time.
Okay, that's not bad.
Longer than, you can get a doctorate degree. It's the real deal.
And also, I mean, it is hard because different places have different, sort of criterion for it. And I know for Travis, he wouldn't just give one out. So you definitely want to make sure that you kind of can hold down the fort in the same way.
Hold on, Raph, I can't hear you no more.
Oh, no, dude. All right, 1 second. We'll give you a moment to go ahead and recalibrate. Kathy, thank you very much for your comment. I will pass that on to Justin when we see him back momentarily. Justin, did you just switch off the audio settings on your thing?
Raph, can you hear me?
I can. You just took out your earbuds, yeah? Hey, Justin. Our thanks to you guys for watching in right now. We're going to give him a second to go ahead and get his Stream back in order. Of course, Justin is an excellent guest that we are talking to right now. Huge win at Submission Hunter over the weekend. Just received his black belt. As we just learned right now, it took him approximately 9 years. He said 8 to begin with, but if we're being honest, isn't this time with Corona, doesn't it feel like 10 years have gone past? And I love this. But yes, Kathy, I will pass that along. Thank you. Oh, no, you're having bad weather. Oh, well, that's the worst. My apologies on that. But thank you for informing me. I think I just saw Justin pop up in another chat over here. Justin, you good?
Yeah, my AirPods died, so I guess that's probably what happened. So I just had to turn my Bluetooth off and re-enter it.
Yep, it's not a problem. And you know what the nice part is? You using the earbuds always gives us a better sound. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you for doing that to begin with.
I'm sorry for the sound for the rest of the interview.
Actually, it sounds just fine because you're close enough to
Okay. Awesome.
where your microphone is. It's
and
very
it is a brand new phone. Like I've got an iPhone 11 now. It's not a crappy iPhone that's going to take no grainy pics with Craig Jones. So we've leveled up since.
To be fair, it's not really that phone's fault as much as it is the times. I don't know if you go back and revisit photos from your yesteryear, but a lot of those photos did not look great, or they don't age well. We did get a follow-up from Christopher Velez, who says, how is the difference for going from purple through brown/black in the BJJ competition-wise?
Competition-wise? So I feel like, once you reach your purple belt and competition, depending on the competitions, you're going to be going against some pretty good guys. And, from purple belt, you need to really start establishing what you personally do good, because, everyone knows the fundamentals and everyone knows, by then, like the main stuff, really just try to focus on what what makes your game special, and then put all the work into just trying to evolve each position, break down and see what you can do from here. But as far as competing, man, you just gotta get out there and do it. Like whenever I was a purple belt, I did good, but you got to take your losses too, man. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I can say is just the more time you put on the mats, especially when you're competing, there's nothing that brings it out of you that you can really learn from and see, pick apart your game, and dissect it. Then, if you're competing. So, yeah, that's definitely, why I feel that I just got, good really quick, and started facing these really good guys, is just is that. And then being confident in yourself, man, because that was, like I was just saying in my MMA fight, you've got to have confidence in yourself. You just have to, you train all the time, and it's fun in the gym, but when it's time to put it out there, you've got to know that it's time to rock and roll, and it's time to go.
I think that's an excellent way to go ahead and tell people to find that new level up that they're always looking for, especially in competition. I would ask this though, because one of the things that we figured out was, okay, great, you had this mentality that you wanted to fix for MMA, but I'm always curious about the psychological parts about falling in love with the sport. So when exactly did you know that jiu-jitsu was your thing? Because it goes from just being a hobby to something that becomes an actual career. So do you know the exact moment that you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So really, probably I would say right before my On the Invitational debut, I was, it was actually not long before that all that stuff happened. And then I came to Travis, and we just started working, and then Andrew Craig, called Travis like 2 weeks before the On Invitational and asked if he had somebody, because somebody fell out, typically like they do. And, I was available. And, after that night and, I had that feeling. I knew that, that was it. And I was going to put 100% of my effort into being the best because, for one, I've got the coach that'll take me there, and I've got training partners and, even, close friends that I can drive to, like, David Holsey, and, I'm trying to get it with, Cody and William here, hopefully this week. So, yeah, man, just always working.
Those are some monster names that you mentioned there. Of course, David being a Lone Star grappler, one of the kindest, nicest people in all jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, seriously.
Although his jiu-jitsu's mean. I've seen photos. The MFer I just saw today on his Instagram. You know what? He sent me this photo. I take that back. He sent me this photo, and he goes, "Hey, Raf, when's WWE BJJ week?" And it's him using his tiny body against the wall mat and doing a wall mat assisted bulldog choke. And he's sending it to me like, "What do you think of this?" And I go, "It's cool looking. But if you did that shit to me, I don't know that we'd be friends."
Such a nice guy, but man, he has some ruthless techniques. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw Michael Salazar. This was maybe 2 months ago now. He hit this. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a reverse guillotine choke. That he hit in that fight to win match. And I think that David was saying that he showed Michael like literally a couple weeks or something before that, and then he hit that just nastiness. He taught him that nasty choking at work in competition. I was like, man, you're a savage, Dave. And Salazar is a savage too for hitting it, But.
Yeah, that move is referred to as a dragon sleeper. So, it's one of the things we run into as pro wrestling fans when people would say, "Does that move hurt?" And it's like, all of these moves hurt if you do it to hurt. But they, in pro wrestling, do that so that they can go and travel week to week without killing the person. But yes, a dragon sleeper is, like you mentioned, the reverse guillotine, where their neck would be right here in between. And if you put just a little bit on that, it's bad news because it's your head and your neck. So when I see him teaching people that, I go, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Not only the head and the neck, man, but you get your legs around somebody and you hip in, you're going to hurt their back too, man. That's a killer position. It's not fun.
I got one more question here from Christopher, who says, with regard to your training, how much time do you spend working A-game techniques versus working on expanding your game and experimentation?
Working A-game techniques. So, most of the time I do a lot of my like experimenting between matches, so like right now, I'll be, experimenting with stuff. And then like next week, I'm going to be drilling, like the week of the match, I'm going to be drilling, a lot more of my, my A game, my go-tos and stuff like that. But typically between matches, I'll try to, look for, different avenues and just trying to do different things.
All right. Thank you very much, Christopher. Appreciate the question. Who is this guy?
Oh, this is my girl, Arizona. Come on in here.
Oh, my God.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
She's adorable. That's amazing.
Thank you. She is the best.
She definitely knew that we're starting to get toward the end of the interview because she's like, I need to make sure I make an appearance real quick. This interview will not close until I'm in here.
Yep. The star of the show right here.
How long have you had her?
So my wife has had her all her life, and she is 7 years old.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. She looks great. She looks super cute. You guys are very lucky. That is pretty great. So tell me about this, man. Submission Underground comes up. Yep. Tell me a little bit about what's coming up for you. It's a monster matchup, but I'd
Oh
love to hear
man,
you describe what it is, sir.
dude. So I mean, just for it to kick off the submission undercards, the submission underground card like that, that's it, it's going to be killer, man. Me and Alan. I don't know if you know who. I mean, I know you do, but the viewers, I don't know if y'all know who Alan Sanchez is. But dude, he's a killer, man. I think he won Nogi Worlds last year at black belt. I think he beat Cody in the finals. And then he got his black belt on the podium. So that speaks right there, but he's a really high level guy. He's won combat jiu-jitsu world, like a special match. He's beat Werther there. Yeah, man, he's another guy. Like we kind of got pretty similar styles. Like, we like back takes, and we're just submission hunters, man. We're not gonna go in there and he's not gonna pull a Don Stoner. Okay, he's gonna engage with me. I'm gonna engage with him. And it's going to be a freaking awesome 5 minutes unless someone gets submitted, and then, yeah, it's just going to be, they couldn't have really picked a better match to kick off the card. Honestly, the whole card is sick. But yeah, we're going to steal the show right from the very beginning. And it was actually cool too, because Heather messaged me. She said, Alan Sanchez requested you. So, that's cool to me. And I guess he's been training with Mason Fowler since, I guess, Kyle Terra shut down, sadly. But yeah, so I know he'll be ready because he's training with Mason there, and all the other 10th Planet guys. Like, it's going to be a freaking war, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and Alan, even just this weekend, was competing at the Sin City Submission Series. And
tore through that bracket. I got
man.
3 submissions in that one.
Made it all the way with the finals with PJ. And honestly, man, that's he's a good kid, man. I really like him a lot, and I like that matchup between the two of you. So I'm very stoked to see that one. I wouldn't be surprised if you see us do a fight companion for that. So we will definitely be watching along and hopefully cheersing some celebrations should they arise.
Yeah.
I guess I want to ask this, man. So what's next? I know that you've kind of previewed it without, ADCC being there. It seems like you're open to then some super fights after this, because you were already probably going to scale things down to get ready for the top of November. But now that that's changed, are you open to those super fights? And where would you like to see yourself compete, man?
Man, definitely would love to get back to EBI, Next Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, whether it's welterweight or middleweight. Hopefully Eddie will holler at me because I'll be ready. That for sure is something that I want. It'd be cool to, I always love fight to win, man. Actually, whenever all the quarantine stuff went down, I was supposed to have 2, big out of state tournaments. One of them was the King of the Mat 185-pound tournament, and there was some killers in that one. And then I had the Zapatero with Josh as well in Florida, and both of those got postponed, obviously. So that was a little upsetting, but man, dude, I'll compete anywhere, especially if the better the person, the merrier. I want to compete against the best, man. Like hopefully here soon, Flow Grappling can give me some love and give me like a top 15 guy. Like that'd be amazing. Like the only person that I've lost to in my weight class this year is William. I was getting ready to. I had talked to Seth, and he told me about a welterweight title match. So I was, getting ready for that, and then he offered me Sloan at 195, and I was 178, and I was like, fuck. But me being who I am, I took the match because I know Sloan was I want to face the best. Sloan is awesome, and he trains with Keenan now, and that it's a match that I wanted, even though he was 20 pounds heavier than me. Yeah, that one didn't work out my way. I got caught on some strongman stuff, but he's definitely really good. Credit to him on that one. but yeah, like other than that, dude, I've been submitting, like killing everybody. So, yeah, whoever I want to compete anywhere, everywhere. That's what I want to do, man. Just stay ready, and whenever trials comes back around, we'll pull up and we'll win that one.
I just like the idea of being like, I don't care where the smoke is, I want it. Just as long as
if it's a worthy opponent, and
generally in my weight class and a big opponent, like I'm in.
Yeah. Hopefully, right now, no bigger than 185. So.
I mean, my biggest thing is, I always tell people around ADCC, and especially to matchmakers, if they can do you the solid of keeping it within or as close to ADCC weights as possible, I think that's what really helps the athletes at this time, because that's all people are thinking about. Nobody comes in and says, give me my IBJJF weight. Everybody right now is looking at those 5 weight categories, and they say,
no one's really worried about pounds. They're all counting kilograms right now. They're all, 88, 77, 66, 99. It's, for sure, man.
I know, because every year, every 2 years, I have to remind myself. Hold on, times it by 2, I think, and that's 2-ish is good. Okay, so we have a couple little comments here that just says, "Love you, brother. Keep killing it, homie. I'm rooting for you from West Texas." That's from Court McGee or Maggie. I don't really know. And then Angel closing out by saying, "Very proud and privileged to see Justin come up the ranks."
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Well, Justin, we're coming up on an hour now. You've given me so much of your time. I want to give you this opportunity to shout out anybody you want to, whether it's sponsors, whether it is people who helped you get ready, or even people you want to shout out just in encapsulation of the recent black belt that you just got, man. So floor is yours, dude.
For sure. So for one, shout out to Raph for having me on, man. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, and I really appreciate him taking his time out of his day, for one. And then, shout out to my coach, Travis Moore, for everything that he's done for me, man, giving me my black belt and, everything that's come along with that on and off the mats. My wife, I love you. She's at work right now. She's a hairstylist. I love her so much. She's a crucial part of my job too. She's a hell of a cook. She makes sure that I eat healthy, and, I've never missed weight. She's kept my mind right always. And, that's a super key deal too. Shout out to my teammates and, everybody at John's Gym Temple, Georgetown, Austin, Liberty Hill, even. And then, my family, love you guys, friends. Thank you so much. Y'all be sure, not this Sunday, next Sunday, October 4th, Submission Underground on UFC Fight Pass. I think it starts at like 5 o'clock. I'm the first match. You're not going to want to miss it, okay? It's going to be insane. Me and Alan are going to put on a hell of a show.
We just got a note here from Court McGee that just said, "LOL, it's Curtis Clifton, bro." I don't know that. You have to put that in the name. I know what I read. If your name says Kurt Maggie, that's what I have to read it. It's what Ron Burgundy does. So anyway, hey, listen, kid, I want to tell you this, Justin. It's very nice of you to thank me. Please don't. But the real reason why we pull people on here is because it's indicative of the work that they do. So this is really a reflection of, you get to do these interviews because you do hard work and you do have results. And I think that is so important that people understand that, sometimes it feels like you're competing and that people don't watch or know that you are out there and competing. But we are watching you. And at this juncture of no audiences, I don't get the opportunity to go cover things live. So for me, this is the best way to always make sure that we take care of those folks who are out there competing. That's the whole design of the show. So it's really a testament to you, sir. So congrats to you. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you, Raph.
I very much appreciate it. I don't suspect this will be the only time we'll talk to you. So
definitely not, man. We'll definitely catch up with you soon.
be on the ready for another one. I'm going to say hi to you off air, but I'm going to close up this bitch real quick. My thanks to Justin Rennick and Kurt.
Thank you, guys.
Listen, you said my bad. We Temple boys. Listen, I'm not going to make fun of you anymore. You're with me, bro. I just have to give you shit. Don't give me shit on the comment section. All right, I'll see you off air in just a second. All right, fam. Here's what's going on right now, kids. Tomorrow we return with Emil Fisher. That's right, him, the Loki of our sport, who probably will have things to say about flow grappling or Hal Teague, because that's the only thing he seems to know what to talk about these days. Anyway, we'll talk about his upcoming Zapatero match against young Keith Krikorian, who is on a monster roll. Plus, this week, we will have an interview. We're actually in the process of locking down a couple things, so I don't want to give too much away. But I will tell you the winner of Submissions on the Shore, Jordan Patrick. She will be joining us on Wednesday. That is 1 p.m. Emil tomorrow, 1 p.m. Best Coast time. That is Pacific time. And just as a reminder, give support to dodgycollective.com, to our friends over at No Gi BJJ Gear. Use a promotional code GrapplingHour15. Take 15% off of whatever you put in your cart. And we will return Verbal Tap later this week with Over Under Kevin. That is happening on Wednesday. We will release that Wednesday night. Kevin is traveling and will be back. And don't forget, this weekend is going to be the big UFC pay-per-view. We will have a fight companion for that. And also, we will be doing a panel for that show. My name is Rafa Esparza. It has been a pleasure to talk with you guys here today. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats eventually.